Hi everybody, welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies supporting their family wellbeing challenges. And as you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. And today I am super excited to be interviewing Matthew. Hi Matthew, thank you so much for coming.
How you doing? You okay?
Yes, fine, thanks. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. My name is Matthew Elliot. I'm originally from Essex, and I moved to Zagreb back in 2017,
Yeah.
shortly after Brexit. I'm a digital marketing specialist for Manning Global, which is a staffing and recruitment company. And I transitioned from magazines to marketing. Jesus, I'm trying to think when it was now. A long time ago, it seems. So,
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We're going to say something. Yeah.
No, go on, you go ahead.
Brilliant. Well, no, I'm very excited to hear about your story today and your topic and everything. And you chose from magazines to marketing. Can you tell us what made you choose that and what does it mean and why is it important for today?
I mean, I started reading magazines when I was a kid. First of all, it was football magazines. And then as soon as I got into music, that was it for me. I was just obsessed with music. So I was reading New Musical Express. For people that live outside of UK and Europe and America, that stands for New Musical Express. So that basically talks about any new bands that are out or old bands and like that, basically. So I had subscriptions to these magazines, and then it also came from my granddad because he was a journalist as well.
Oh,
So
really?
it started at a young age. Yeah, he. I just remember as a kid coming around his house, and he was always on the typewriter, basically. So he was a stringer for various local newspapers in and around Hertfordshire. And he'd have a cigarette or cigar hang out of his mouth. Then he'd have a brandy or tea on the go. He'd be in football or cricket commentary on at the same time as watching the news. And then he'd be on his typewriter banging out loads of different stories. So I don't know, maybe that's where I got the bug for writing, to be honest, because it sort of went from there.
Yeah.
So from a young age, yeah.
Okay. So you've had an interest for ages. So tell us. So what did you do, and then how did you go from magazines, and what kind of magazines were you?
Yeah, I mean,
marketing.
First of all, when I was a kid, I was always interested in writing as well. I mean, English probably was my favorite subject, English and history. So
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be my vocation in life. And basically, it got to a point where back in the day, there wasn't many universities to decide where you actually wanted to go, if you wanted to do English or if you wanted to do languages, and also to do with journalism and digital marketing. And I'm a Liverpool fan as well, so it made sense for me to actually go to Liverpool, and that was the one offering journalism. So I studied journalism at Jonathan Moore's University in Liverpool.
Okay.
So that was for up till from 2001 to 2004. And then at that time, I was doing work experience for various different magazines in the men's. It was mainly in the men's lifestyle market and also fashion as well. So.
What did you love about that then? Like, what did you?
I just love that fact of the work experience because I was working from a young age on helping my dad at the market. So I suppose that sort of incorporated people skills that I can use today. But just having the feel of actually putting stuff and having your name in print for the first time.
Oh, really?
We had a local fanzine as well for my band, and it was called Live Circuit, and this was in Hitchin in Hertfordshire. And then I used to go under an alias, and then I'd review our concerts under the alias to see and give it like favorable reviews and stuff. So this was back when I was 14, and this was way before university. So this was sort of like the earliest work experience I had. And then it was sort of like writing poetry at school. And then I was applying for lots of different work experience, but the one I had, which was the best one, was for a company called Front Magazine, and that was in London. And they let me just get hands-on with a lot of stuff. I'd interview different people to do with men's lifestyle. I'd get to review DVDs, if anyone remembers what they are.
Yeah.
And then that carried on at university as well. So I was sort of like a stringer, which means that was like a freelance for them. So
what did you learn? Sorry to interrupt. What did you learn from that?
Just to get involved, even if it's just making the tea. You know, if you're just tea boy, you need to be keen and also learn and understand and appreciate deadlines and appreciate people, because that was the first time I was ever in an office environment, really. Because you can be in academic and you can be in university and school, but until you're actually in the wider world and actually meeting people and dealing with deadlines and real life, I don't know, it gave me a taste for it. And then I wanted to leave university straight away and actually
Did
go
you?
start working. Yeah. No, I loved that. That was like, and the unfortunate thing was I loved my work experience there so much. We had a month in total. So 2 weeks was spent on that magazine. And then the next 2 weeks was at a music magazine. And that was based near the Thames in London, for a company called IPC. So this was a massive building right in the heart of London. But unfortunately, this just didn't have a personal feel to that one. I'll actually show you, even though I did love my time there, you could actually go
I
into
love
the
all
art.
your plants, by the way, as well. You've got a lot of plants
I
there.
know, thank you. This is due to she's the interior designer. I'd help with sort
Amazing.
of some of the layout and stuff with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so this is one of the ones I helped put together, basically. So this is a Beatles magazine.
Oh,
and I
right.
was
Yeah.
room. So I was scanning in basically 8 hours a day, just scanning in images and scanning in old features. So you see from there.
Yeah.
And what they do is put them together in a magazine and have it perfect bound. So what I always loved about magazines, this one was produced in '95, I think it was.
Yeah.
You get to see all the old adverts for CDs as well on top there. You see HMV and stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So is it on? It's on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really,
yeah, so that's when I sort of fell in love with print media, and then I just became sort of obsessed with it and everything to do with it. We had different on our second year of university. We had like you could get to choose your vocation. You either get to go into TV, radio, or print, and it was just a natural progression for me to go to print, to be honest, because that's what I knew.
yeah.
I didn't think I was good enough in front of the camera, and my radio voice, I would have always liked to maybe try radio, but it never got the chance, really. So I appeared on my wife's radio once singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," but that was
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, this was back in 2017 it was, yeah. So
what happened after that then? So you realized you had a skill in print and that's an interest. So then what happened?
then I was just pitching to a lot of different companies just to see if I could just continue that, basically. And I was lucky enough to be kept on by Front Magazine. So I was doing freelance for them during uni times. And
Okay.
also I was getting to work for the local, the student paper, interviewing bands, which was good because any group that would come to Liverpool at the time, and we had a lot of good groups. We had like Libertines play, the Choral. We had a good local music scene. So we'd
Yeah.
get free tickets and we'd also get to interview the actual acts.
Oh, really? And then you would write about it. So you would
Well,
interview them and you would
yeah,
write some.
myself and my best friend from uni, Debs. Hopefully she's on this call, I think, as well. So
Yeah.
she was editor of the music section. So we'd get the tickets and then we'd be able to interview the bands on top of that. So that was sort of like a dream role for me.
That sounds amazing. And by the way, welcome to everybody who's here. If you have any questions about marketing, magazines, digital marketing, please feel free to message
We'll
us.
get marketing soon. Don't worry, it won't all be magazines because I'm aware that people nowadays don't actually read them, do they? So it's strange how it's sort of progressed now. I mean, my thesis at university was actually to do with the Times going into a tabloid. Hayden Scott, you're gay. He's one of my mentors. Well, he's been a big influence, especially with led to the amount of guests that we've had on. We've been lucky to interview on the blog as well. So
that's what I was going to say. So you mentioned, so you had the skill in print and the interest and working with the right people. So that's what I was going to say. Did you have any mentors or any people who really helped you? I mean, is that important?
It was mainly my granddad. And then now I think back as well, looking back in 2008 when I started progressing to like marketing and advertising, because marketing back then was very much B2B or direct sales, because when you're actually involved in the publishing of the magazine, in terms of marketing, you had social media, which was coming in force, but it wasn't like it was today where you could leverage it properly on LinkedIn. So we had it as direct marketing first of all. And my first thoughts when I was trying to transition was that, well, print media is probably going to be dead. This is back in 2008 from what, 5 to 10 years time. So you really reskill. because people aren't willing to pay for a product nowadays. You can get the information all you want on The Guardian and so forth, and it's free. You can register and then you can pay a subscription fee if you like and give them, but you're under no pressure to now. The amount of journalism that's classed as free, but
That's
the problem
true.
is now, on top of that, you have so much clickbait where they're dragging you in with the title that there's too much out there, if you see what I mean. So it's about
Totally too much out there. Yes. And hi, Dan. Matte live and in colour, not just print.
Finally, I know the hair is of too much colour. It's been freshly washed and quiffed up. So,
but you're right. It does feel like there's too much, and it's overwhelming. And
it's really overwhelming. I always say now to my wife before bed, I always have a digital detox, because for me, I need to be rest my mind. I know it's cheesy saying this, but you need to have routines. You need to have all the things that people tell you to be healthy, so forth. I mean, I don't have coffee after 2 p.m. now because it wasn't doing me any good. Yeah. I still have my cup of tea at night, but then that leads to biscuits. So the biscuits then leads to more weight. So no, but like you said, we're consumed with how much media we have now. And it's constant with the algorithm with social media, where you're just obsessed with scrolling, obsessed with likes, obsessed with, do you know what I mean, status all the time. So
exactly. Let me just, we've got Demetra here before we continue. So she's got a question. So journalist background here, feeling like a boomer already at 28, with experience in magazines, copywriting on websites, and content to enter the last 2 years of marketing. Looking for my next job feels surreal and difficult. Why is competition so extreme? What are the best skills I should focus on to thrive in marketing as a person who lives for journalism and writing? Thank you so much, Demetra. Matthew, do you have anything to say?
No, that's a really good question. First of all, I'd say you need to concentrate on your LinkedIn profile a lot, basically. I mean, I can have a look after this call and advise, but I'd always say make sure you have your connections there, and also make sure that you have people that are willing to vouch for you. So when you go on someone's LinkedIn page, you can actually see with the testimonials that they're a good worker, or endorse them for skills and so forth as well. But also, I'd just say there is another way to actually, even though you're applying online on LinkedIn and so forth, actually having personal connections with people as well is the most important thing in terms of the industry that I'm in, with recruiters as well. So we have recruiters at work, and they offer the personal touch as well, who speak to you direct. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think you should ever lose that you should have the personal touch and make time for people. I know that I know some of these processes take time, but the whole thing doesn't have to be linear, if you see what I mean. When I first moved to Croatia and I was setting up employment and freelance, I must have sent LinkedIn to hundreds of people, but that involved coffee for that. Yeah, because most business in Croatia is actually done over coffee. So once you get to know the culture, and then you get to start speaking with people properly and understand that, then you kind of work to it. But I mean, I'm hoping I answered that question well enough, but I'll happily answer it offline after if you want.
Yeah, please feel free. And Daniel says, amazing, Jasmine. Well, amazing, both of us. Thank you so much, Daniel. Okay, no, that's brilliant. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be more questions about this as well. So then what happened then? So you were working, interviewing stars and writing. Oh, we've got another question. Sorry, everyone's getting excited. Hi, David. What impact do you think ChatGPT and AI has and will have over time? Great question, David. Thank you so much.
I am worried about where it's going with ChatGPT, because we actually use it to a degree to assist of us, but you can tell when something isn't written by a human. So as soon as it loses that human touch.
Can you really, though? Can you really? Because sometimes
everyone has a style of writing. Everyone has a flow. Everyone has onomatopoeia or
a personality. Yeah.
If it has too much, how do you say it, jazz, then you know that it's written by a robot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just personal preference, but we don't want to be. The whole point of AI is to actually assist us, if you see what I mean. It's going to another stage now, and I won't mention her name, but we have Alexa basically in the other room. So the minute you ask her something, she'll do it for you. Time, wake me up on time, play Beatles, so forth. But the problem is when it takes it to extreme. Now she's not playing me albums from the Beatles. She's actually playing me certain songs, and then she's progressing to the Beach Boys. That's the album now. We're killing the album, and now we're just so used to playlists and everything. I could go on and on. So
Well, yeah,
maybe
of course, we can't replace humans, can we? Like, we really can't. It's
it
like,
won't, but it needs to assist, and as long as it's just assisting and not replacing in a way, if you see what I mean. I'm only talking in terms of journalism and media now. So
yes.
I mean, it
Okay.
impacts on our life on other things because it's in. I wouldn't change it having Alexa there, and at the same time, I don't
Really?
like the fact is maybe it's just think it's easy because she'll tell me the weather, so I don't have to look out the window. Do you know what I mean?
And the thing is, sometimes
Things,
with ChatGPT, sometimes if I have like I think of something and there's
You
nobody
always
there to ask, I'll just ask.
This
Yeah.
is the thing. You have to be careful to make sure you source these things properly because you're not sure the information is coming at you so quick. Unless you're referencing this against other sources, you just got to be careful. That's all. So
That's true. No, thank you. Thanks for that. Thanks, David, for your question. Demetra says, been there and done that. It takes ages. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer. Open to discussion.
yeah, I was going to say to Demetra, I understand it always takes longer when you're doing stuff that's sort of out of the box, but it does actually pay off in the end.
Yes, exactly.
People, second connections and so forth. Actually researching the company that you want to work for. All these things unfortunately take time. There is no magic pill when it comes to these things.
I love that.
The more actually work and the more time you put into building these personal connections, I think it does actually pay off in the end.
Oh yeah, I love that. There's no quick fix. There's no quick way. And I think that's with every profession, isn't there? There's just, and like you said, it is about making those real connections, and it does take time. And face-to-face meetups, yeah. Right, okay. So carry on in your story. We can answer questions as they come.
Where did I get to? Did I even get to Brexit yet? I'm not sure.
No, you got to when you were loving your life, interviewing stars, writing about them. Then
yes,
what happened?
I finished university and then I was applying for different jobs and I was still freelancing at the men's magazine, but unfortunately that wasn't enough to pay the way. So then I was living back home with my dad. My mum and dad had split up, so I was living with my dad at the time.
Yeah.
And I was applying for different jobs, and then I got a job in Manchester, and this was an editor of a wealth management magazine. So that was my first job, and this was to shadow the actual managing editor that was going away traveling. So I'd have the post for 6 months. And also just a tip for people when you're actually applying for positions, every position that I've applied for, I've always taken the time to obviously have to research the company, but also to present. If you can do a presentation for them as well, even though they haven't asked for it as part of the first stage, I guarantee this will put you in the running. So if you think of it for when you're actually going for a job, there's different stages of it. But if you're actually having the first step where you can actually them, and then even if it's just to see how you can actually help solve a problem in the company that you think might exist, as long as you word it in a certain way, but they're always open to suggestions and also ideas. A company will never look down on you for having so many ideas. That's what's got me every job that I've actually had, I think.
Really?
Yeah, because I think you need to prepare and you need to have ideas, especially when you're in the running against 10 different people, maybe.
Or more, maybe. Yeah.
If it comes to if it's personality and then it comes to say who's actually knows the company better, who will be a better fit culturally, then after that, you have the presentation and there's a cherry on top as well. I think it makes such a difference. I know these things take time, but as I said, I don't think
basically giving more, just giving as much as you can. That makes sense. Yeah.
So that was my role for 6 months. But that was so hard that I'm not going to lie. I mean, it was like about being in the deep end. I was just, I don't know. I had some days where I was like, I don't know, be nearly in tears in the toilet because it was just so much to handle. First of all,
really. How come?
Say it again, sorry.
What was so difficult?
Everything.
Really?
It was mainly just because I was going from one area of journalism where it was men's magazines, it was fashion, it was London life, and then I was going to something that was completely different where it was talking to wealthy people about their projects and offshore and so forth. And also then I had to learn Photoshop on the job because I'd always focused properly on the skills that I loved, which was more writing, if you see what I mean. So I never really looked into the design aspect of it. So when I actually went for the job, I said I was willing to learn and they knew that I was going to be a fast learner. But until you're actually in that position and obviously you want it to be the best of what you can do with it, with anything in life. So, and this is what stressed me out the most. So I did that job for 6 months, and it was hard every day, but it was, in a way, it was rewarding because I got to learn the skills, and then I got to get the job where I was managing editor of men's magazines in Essex. And then, I mean, that was my dream job. And I always say maybe it's karma. I would say to my wife Mia that maybe sometimes it is karma that I had that dream job for that long. Do you know what I mean? To enjoy for that long when there's been other problems. So.
Okay. So then what happened?
Yeah, so then I moved back. I moved back home from Manchester, even though I did love Manchester, especially the live music scene. Then I moved back from Manchester to Essex, and then I was managing editor of the men's magazines.
Okay. What did you learn from that position?
Well, I started as editorial assistant, and then I got promoted to assistant editor, and then I got promoted to managing editor. So I was managing editor of all the titles. So that was how I got through the door with there as well, was just applying on spec. So even when, this is another tip for job seekers, even though sometimes there's not anything advertised, I'd still reach out to certain people within the company, even on LinkedIn, just to see if you can add anything to the company, because you never know when they're willing to hire. So
being very active, yeah.
Also, at the time, I was doing freelance for a PR company as well in London, and she was a really good mentor for me, called Nina. Her company dealt with a lot of different things to do with lifestyle and fashion as well, and that sort of helped me with the transition. This was mainly public relations, but then it sort of fed into marketing, and then it sort of had a spark in my brain as well about how I could sort of implement more social media that was coming to the fore at the time into the magazines, and also direct sales as well. So we had subscriptions, and I realized that if we can add more value to the subscription, you have then the subscription which people pay up front, and then you have the money up front, and then you don't have to rely on so many people actually going in and choosing the magazine, especially when there's so many magazines on the market and the demand is so high. So if you can offer more rewards in terms of subscription, then you have the money up front. So that was sort of I don't know, that was probably my first step into marketing, to be honest, with that, looking at subscriptions and helping with the marketing manager at the time, looking at paid for advertising as well.
And that was just your idea? That came from your idea then?
Yeah, because we were always good at subscriptions. This was the main thing that we did, and this was what our bread and butter was, because where we were based, we owned printing presses. So we had another magazine called Hair Magazine there. So I became like the lifestyle men's fashion editor there as well. So this was more of a nice free gig of vanity, because I just got loads of hair products and trips.
I do like your hairstyle, actually. You do have a cool hairstyle.
A lot of hairspray. It needs to be flammable for, what do you call it?
Yeah.
So I was doing both of them basically, and any freelance that I could take on at the time as well. And I started also when I first moved to Croatia, I was doing some freelance for a German company called Goliath Books. So they do different fashion and men's lifestyle. So that was sort of another introduction to marketing as well. So I'd actually reach out.
A lot of experience.
No, it's really good. I got a review my biggest claim to fame was getting a review in Paris Review, which was the biggest thing for me, because I never thought I'd achieve anything like that. So
wow. But it shows that you started, like, you've got so much varied experience. It's not just like, you've gone through everything, haven't you? It seems.
I know, and even the market trading when I was a kid, Jesus, I think that was the biggest life skills I could have, actually, is from my dad, and actually learning how to deal with people. This was back in the day, mid-90s. So he was taking me to Hertford Market when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I did that up till I was 16. Basically, up until I was too old and I wanted to just drink, and I didn't want to play football the next day anymore. So, but that just taught me a lot of life skills of actually looking people in the eye and actually dealing with them properly.
Communicating with how to talk to people.
Yeah, communicating basically, because I don't think we have so much of that nowadays. We have a lot of stuff. Obviously, we're talking now face to face remotely, but in terms of environment and stuff, we don't seem to communicate as much. We have all the different channels and stuff too. We have Google Hangouts and so forth, but and the Google Chat. But in terms of face-to-face, I don't think we have it so much now, do we?
No.
So,
And what did you learn about communicating? Do you just mean literally just knowing what to say to different people, making them feel comfortable?
I didn't get my dinner, so I had to sell. I had to sell as many
Oh,
as possible. So, and then you'd have your loyal customers that would come back each time. But this was back in the day when you could, obviously before ASOS. So you had a lot of men that were going out on a Saturday night that wanted their snazzy shirts to snazzy. Sorry, in UK language means good. You know, I don't know how to phrase it.
yeah, we know what snazzy means. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the earliest skills that I got taught, I suppose, was just people skills, and then I just started to implement that into the marketing side of things. So just to continue with the timeline.
Yes, tell us.
Then Brexit happened, and also once Brexit happened, it blew my brain that a decision could be made like that with the people that I just didn't agree with, and I thought if I don't move to a foreign country now and get this opportunity, then it's just never going to happen. So I don't know, and I haven't always been worried about. I'll make decisions based on different processes, but at the same time, you always need to experience something, and that's why I moved to Manchester when I did, and I didn't really know anyone. I had friends in Liverpool, but still, when I moved to Croatia, I didn't know anyone. I'd never actually visited Zagreb before. I mean, Zagreb is a really beautiful place, so honestly, you have to visit one time because
I do. I want to. I do. So what happened? What was there an opportunity there? And you just thought, I'm going for this.
It was my first job there, and then that didn't work out for a number of reasons. And then I was lucky enough to have the job that I'm still in now. So I started in August 2017 in marketing in Manning Global, and I've been here ever since. So it's been really, really good.
Wow. So no, brilliant. It's an amazing story, and there's probably, of course, you haven't told us everything, so we'll have to interview again. But so tell us, so from going back to the title then, from magazines to marketing, what for people who are maybe looking for that transition or looking for a job in these areas, like what would be the biggest, learnings, takeaways you would share?
Just to be patient, and also just to
really that's hard.
I know it is in today's world, but honestly, you need to try and get in as much work experience as possible, especially when you're young, and also work on your LinkedIn profile, because that's the number one tool. The CV is important, but the LinkedIn profile is going above and beyond, basically. So if you can get recommendations and endorsements, people to endorse you for certain skills, honestly, any testimonials you can have on your LinkedIn page make a difference. Keeping it updated with your key skills, just having a friend review it, basically, to see what it looks like, and getting them to offer feedback as well. So, and just also, there's another good expert on LinkedIn to follow called Austin Belkak, his name is, and he's excellent. He thinks out the box when it comes to actually applying for jobs. So he's definitely worth following for information on this, because he's always been a good mentor, and we've actually interviewed him on the blog.
Oh, really?
You can see it on blog.manningglobal.com.
Maybe if you can put that in the comments, so we can.
Yeah, we'll put that in the comments as well after. So,
but anything else? That's all really, great tips for finding jobs and things. Is there anything more specific for journalism jobs, or would you say it's just the same?
Well, journalism jobs now, I'm not 100% sure with what the requirements are, because I've been out of the industry now for a fair while. So I've been in marketing now since 2017. So I'm not 100% sure now the landscape when it comes to journalism. All I know is from what my wife does. My wife is a journalist on Miss 7, which is an online portal in Croatia for women's lifestyle. And
you can add that in the comments as well. Yeah,
I know the requirements that she needs to do and so forth as well. So, but like I said, journalism is changing a hell of a lot now. There's so much choice out there. Even in Croatia for women's portals, there's Miss 7, who she works for. There's Fashion HR. There's tons of these portals. So the problem is the amount of choice, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. No, brilliant. Thank you so much, Matthew, for sharing your story and your tips. And I know it was super, super quick. But we'd love to have you on again. So to find
No,
out,
no problem, definitely. We'll do it again. And also thank you for taking the time to interview for our blog as well. If anyone hasn't read it, we'll put the link in the comments as well.
Thanks, Matthew. No. Thank you so much for sharing, your knowledge, and obviously you've got so much life experience and professional experience.
Too much.
A lot. No, but that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And like you said, there's no quick fix. You have to put in the work and the time. Things don't just appear. But is there anything else you want to say before we go? And how can people find you?
That's it. You can find us on the various channels. If you type in Englishman, literally Englishman in Zagreb into Google, you'll find all my socials. You'll find different interviews with me and so forth. So Englishman in Zagreb on Google. And also that my company is Manning Global. You can find us on LinkedIn if you just type us into the search bar.
Amazing. Well,
and also our blog, blog.manningglobal.com. And that's where we have interviews with yourself and different experts. So
if you can just put all those links on the post on LinkedIn. Here you can't. It doesn't let you. It's only for viewers. That's okay. You put it on the post and then people can click. But thank you so much, Matthew, and can't wait to see you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jasmine. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Bye.